"What do you mean you've chosen a wife for me?" I asked, staring at my mother across the polished mahogany table. She sipped her tea, completely unfazed. "Julian, you're 28. It's time you settled down. I've found the perfect match. Her name is Clara." I just couldn't believe it. This wasn't the 18th century. "Mother, with all due respect, I'll find my own wife. Thank you very much." She sighed, a look of disappointment clouding her features. "Just meet her, Julian, for me." But I was stubborn. I had my own life, my own friends, my own ideas about love. I wasn't about to let my future be dictated by a family arrangement, no matter how much wealth or status was involved. Over the next few weeks, my mother's attempts to arrange a meeting were relentless. She'd talk about Clara's impeccable family background, her education, her supposed grace and kindness. It all sounded like a brochure for a prize-winning show horse. I dodged every phone call, every accidental run-in she tried to orchestrate. "I'm busy, Mom," I'd say. "I have a merger to oversee, or I'm traveling for work." The more she pushed, the more I resisted. In my mind, Clara became this symbol of everything I didn't want. A life planned out for me, a relationship based on convenience rather than genuine connection. I wanted passion, spontaneity, the kind of love you read about in books, not the kind negotiated over tea and biscuits. My refusal became a wall between my mother and me, a cold silence filling the spaces where our easy conversations used to be. One rainy Tuesday, a crisp, cream-colored envelope arrived at my office. It wasn't from my mother. Her stationery was a pale blue. This one had no return address. My curiosity got the better of me. Inside, I found a single sheet of paper, filled with elegant, handwritten script. It began, "Mr. Thorne, I understand you have no desire to meet me, and I respect your decision." It was from her. From Clara. I almost tossed it in the bin, but something made me keep reading. She wrote that she never agreed to the arrangement either, that her own parents were pressuring her. She believed, just as I did, that a partnership should be built on mutual respect and affection, not family obligation. She wasn't the gold-digging socialite I had imagined. She went on to describe her passions. She wasn't interested in society, balls, or designer fashion. She spent her weekends volunteering at an animal shelter. She loved hiking in the rain and reading classic literature. She dreamed of opening a small, independent bookstore one day. Every sentence she wrote dismantled the caricature I had built in my head. She sounded real. She sounded like someone I'd actually want to know. The letter was polite, direct, and incredibly sincere. It wasn't a plea or a complaint. It was simply a statement of her own principles, a quiet declaration of her own identity beyond her family name. She ended the letter by wishing me happiness in finding the love I was looking for, and she apologized for any discomfort the situation had caused me. I read the letter 3 times. An apology. She was apologizing to me for a situation she was as much a victim of as I was. I felt a wave of shame wash over me. I had been so arrogant, so quick to judge. I had painted this woman as a villain in my story without knowing a single thing about her. All my resistance, all my defiance, suddenly felt childish and misplaced. I had been fighting against an idea, a phantom of my own creation. The real person, the one who wrote this letter, was thoughtful, independent, and surprisingly, very much like me. Her words had more impact than all of my mother's pleading combined. She wasn't asking for a chance. In fact, she was gracefully stepping away, which ironically made me want to meet her more than ever. That afternoon, I called my mother. "Mom," I said, my voice softer than it had been in weeks. "Is that offer to meet Clara still on the table?" There was a moment of stunned silence on the other end of the line. "Julian, are you serious?" she finally asked, her voice filled with cautious hope. "Yes," I said, "but on one condition. It's not a formal dinner. It's not an introduction. It's just a coffee. And you can't be there." I could practically hear her smile through the phone. She agreed immediately. I wasn't sure what to expect. My world had been turned upside down by a single piece of paper. I had spent weeks rejecting a person I had never met, only to find myself eagerly anticipating the chance to say hello. We decided to meet at a small, neutral cafe downtown. I arrived early, my heart pounding a little faster than usual. I was nervous, something I rarely felt. What if she was disappointed? What if the person in the letter wasn't the person who walked through the door? Then, a woman with warm eyes and a kind smile approached my table. "Julian?" she asked softly. It was her, Clara. She was even more beautiful than the photos my mother had tried to show me, but it was the intelligence in her eyes that truly captured my attention. We sat and talked for 3 hours. It felt like 10 minutes. We talked about everything and nothing: books, travel, our ridiculous families, and our shared dream of a life less ordinary. The woman I met was even better than the one in the letter. She was funny, sharp-witted, and down-to-earth. She laughed easily and wasn't afraid to challenge my opinions. There was no pretense, no agenda. It was just two people getting to know each other. I found myself completely captivated. I realized my mother, for all her meddling, had seen something I hadn't. She hadn't been choosing a business partner for me. She had recognized a kindred spirit. She had seen that beneath my rebellious exterior and Clara's quiet grace, we were two people who were fundamentally the same. We were both searching for something real in a world that often felt superficial. The connection was immediate and undeniable. That one coffee turned into another, then dinner, then a weekend hike, just like she'd mentioned in her letter. I fell in love with Clara faster and more completely than I ever thought possible. She challenged me, supported me, and saw me for who I was, not for my family's name or bank account. My mother was, of course, overjoyed, though she graciously never once said, "I told you so." A year later, on a rainy afternoon, much like the one when I first read her letter, I asked Clara to be my wife. We were sitting in the small bookstore she had finally opened, surrounded by the scent of old paper and fresh coffee. She said yes. Sometimes, the best things in life come from the most unexpected places. My life was forever changed by a single letter from a stranger I was determined to hate. It taught me not to judge, to look beyond my own prejudices, and to be open to possibilities I never considered. That letter didn't just lead me to the love of my life. It led me to a better version of myself, and for that, I will always be grateful. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more. We'll see you in the next video.